Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome to the Mind Hiking Podcast. I hope you're having a great week, and hopefully you got some time on your hands. Not that this is a long episode, but it's a thought-provoking one. So I hope, hopefully you're doing something mindless right now so you can really get a listen on this and kind of pick up on some of what I'm saying. So hopefully you're ready for that. And if you're liking what I'm doing here, I'd really appreciate it if you guys gave me a follow on Spotify. That would be awesome. And share it with your friends. It's so cool. I love seeing the reach when you guys are sharing it with your friends. If you have a favorite episode, send it to a buddy. I love hearing my friends and family saying that they heard so-and-so come up to them and say, hey, they're listening to your podcast, kind of thing. It's so cool to me. I had my sister come up to me not too long ago telling me that she was out at the bar and she had some friends, old friends, say that they're listening to my podcast, and it's awesome to me. It's so cool. So if you guys are liking it, follow it, give it a 5-star review, and share it with some friends. That'd be so cool. And other than that, stay tuned. Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm your host, Brody Frye, and here we dive deep into difficult questions. We'll map out thoughts, theories, and crazy ideas for the love of knowledge and growth. So, how do we answer some of the mind's toughest questions? This is the Mind Hiking Podcast. Let's friggin' party! No, I'm just kidding. just an Arnie Palmy, and it's not spiked this time. This time. Sometimes I drink those, but this is just a regular Arnold Palmer. But they're delicious. All right. Let's get into this bonus episode. So, today I want to talk about hopes and dreams. And the reason why I want to talk about that is because, like I said in some previous episodes, I think it's cool, like, having this podcast and talking from a perspective where I'm not exactly where I want to be. And in this perspective, I can share my current thoughts and opinions and, first of all, look back on them. And second of all, people that are in the same situation or struggling or, just trying to get through and reach their goals and dreams, they can take it from somebody. And it's not me like talking as if like I were already like ultra successful and where I wanted to be. And it's not like, because you can only take so much from somebody who's, where it's easier to talk when you have what you want, kind of thing. So, and people that don't have what they want, it's harder for them to listen to those kind of people because it's like easy for you to say, kind of thing. That's basically what I'm trying to get across. I don't think that of people. I do like to try to take in as much advice and knowledge that I can from mentors and people that are where I want to be. But I think you know what I'm trying to say. It's sometimes it's challenging to listen to somebody that's already there. But with this podcast, I can say my thoughts, and I'm not where I want to be. I'm still struggling. So it's kind of cool. But with all that said, and the hopes and dreams theme or topic, what I'd like to kind of get into a little bit specifically is just like my thoughts on the origin of dreams. And not dreams while you're asleep, but like daydreaming when you think like, if somebody asks you, where do you want to be, or what's your ideal life? Like, that's a good one. What's your ideal life? Like, when you sit there and you think, if you have time to sit down, like even if you're on the couch or before bed or you're sitting on the bed, whatever. I mean, you could even be at work just like being mindless listening to this podcast right now, but maybe take some time if you can and think like, what is my ideal life? If I could have say money is not an object. Just eliminate that, and you can just have, this is all metaphorical, just like hypothetical as an example. Like, you could just have anything you want. And I feel like that, first of all, that's an issue, is people immediately go to money as if money is the reason why they can't have what they want. And I know money basically is the functioning product behind everything that we do, the functioning gears or oil. So it's tough not to go to that, but that's also not everything. And even if you're struggling, you have late payments and you're barely scraping by, you can still have fun. You can still enjoy your life. Nobody can take that away from you. You are living your own life, and you can still have a good time, or you can still smile. Your emotions don't cost any money, and your feelings don't cost any money. And that's all life is just a big bundle of emotions and feelings butted up together, just smashed together. You just take a series of feelings and emotions and you just string them out and call it your life. Just a bunch of days, a bunch of emotions lined up to make a day, and a bunch of days up to a year, a bunch of years strung out to a life. So that's what's important, is just being able to understand that, just getting over the money thing, where like that's not everything. So once you understand that, then you can kind of be more realistic about, and I don't mean like realistic as in like keep your dreams low. I mean realistic as you can think anything you want kind of thing. Like don't let anything limit this question. What is your ideal life? If you could be doing anything. I mean, some people think like their ideal life is just a basic 9 to 5 and have the weekend to, you make good money and you have the weekend to have a good time with friends. And sometimes like people want that. Sometimes people want that like white picket fence lifestyle and cookie cutter home kind of thing. And that's totally fine. The vast majority of people actually want that. And the vast majority of people don't think that they can have anything more. And they don't even try to look for more or build more. Like they just think that that's it and they're content with that, which is totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But for the thinkers, for the people that want more, what is that ideal life? If you could be anywhere, do anything, live like anything, like what would you be doing? Like don't even use your past as a reference. Like try to think to your core, because that's another bias, is your upbringing, your past. So if you can eliminate that the best you can and think down to your core, like me as essence, what is it that I want? What kind of life is it that I want to live? What do I want to spend my time doing? Because that's what you're doing. You're spending time. And that's an overlooked statement when people say, let's spend our time doing that, or how do you want to spend our time? Or because you're spending your time. Every second that ticks by is your life adding up to its end. So how do you want to spend that? Because you can't get that back. You can always make money back. If you spend money, you can always make money. But you can't spend life, spend time, and make it back. You can't make time back. And you can only spend it in letting the clock tick by, or by shortening your life, by being unhealthy. And that's spending time in a different way. Spending time that you don't get to, that's like opportunity cost, basically, is not being healthy, and you're losing time that hasn't even had an opportunity to spend. So I'm throwing a lot on you right now. But just what is that ideal life for you? And with my rambling, I'm sure you guys have had enough time by now to come up with that ideal life. And once you have that in your head, what's stopping you from that? And if you're not where you want to be, then something is stopping you from that. Because I really do believe this. And I guess I'll take it back and kind of give you a foundation of why I believe this. But I believe that our dreams are not just fluffy clouds floating in our head, like too far out of reach just to tease us and taunt us. I really think that they're placed in our heads because we're supposed to achieve them. There are desires, like our desires and our dreams. And again, like I'm using the term dreams as in like daydreaming, like what you want to be doing or whatever, like that. I'm not saying when you're sleeping dreams, but so I guess desires would probably be a better word. But I feel like I really do believe that those are in our heads for a greater reason than just to taunt us or to tease us or to make us suffer, make us miserable, make us depressed because we could be doing so much more. We could be doing something else and we're not. I think they're there because that's what we're supposed to do. I think they're there because that's what we're supposed to be spending this life striving for. And maybe not. Maybe some people, some of you have these desires to do some things that don't necessarily, help. It's so personal. It's totally up to you guys. It's all interpretation, but it's a hard one to think about. It's a big one to think about, but because you got to dig deep. That's the problem. This isn't surface level stuff. This isn't like, oh, I want to spend my life partying. Like, that's not, I guess you can, I don't think that's a desire. I mean, that's something that you might want to do, but that's not like something that I feel like desire is more passionate, something that's more important than a want. Like, I don't know. If you like want a new car or something like that, like that's a want and that's a fun life experience to go have a new car or whatever, but that's not a desire of what you want your life to be like. It's part of it. It's a fun part. It's a really cool part. And I feel that if that's part of what you want, wants are right up along with desires. And I don't think that that's out of the question as well, or either. But we'll take it back here. I think that the reason I am led to believe this is because I think on life, obviously, I say that every episode, but I think back and I'm just like, I really search for an answer. Like, why are we here? Why am I alive? Why do I wake up every morning and it's left off right where, like I'm continuing right where I left off kind of thing. And it's like, what is, like, sometimes I just go to sleep and I'm like, I don't need, like, it's like I wake up thinking like, that's a miracle that I get to continue where I left off. Like, why it doesn't like restart or something completely different when you wake up. But like, what is this life thing? And it's not just for human beings either, but like life itself, like animals, plants, bacteria, cells, it doesn't matter. Just microscopic single-celled organisms, like all life. What's the purpose? And for a while, I thought it was just to populate, reproduce and grow. And then battle for resources and, basically like a war of the species and see which one kind of took over. And I don't know, 'cause why is that though? Like, we just reproduce. We're created to reproduce and make more of us, to just die, and then the next generations, the offspring, just reproduces and dies, but they're just like generating more offspring, spreading out. So you're here, and your sole purpose is to grow and reproduce and then die. And for a while, that's literally what I thought. And it was sad. And I remember thinking there was nothing after you die. Like blackness, just like before you're born, just like darkness, like blackness, like nothing. But like you don't even remember it. Like there's nothing. And I remember being in 3rd grade, climbing onto the school bus, like walking, because you come out of school when you're going home, you come out, all the school buses are lined up in front of the school, and you got to go find your number school bus, and you're walking around, and sometimes they park in a different spot, so you got to walk the length of the buses. And I remember finding my bus, like looking for my school bus, thinking this, like, why do we just like live and die? What's the point of it all? And like, what happens after we die? Being scared in 3rd grade, just looking for my school bus. And I found my school bus. And when I started stepping up the steps to get into the school bus, I broke down and started crying, thinking about me dying in 3rd grade, thinking about what happens when you die, thinking about darkness afterwards. And especially now, being older, looking back on that, imagining a 3rd grader thinking like that, it breaks my heart. And there's got to be something else, because damn it, I totally forgot about that air freshener. If you listen to last episode, I said I was going to take that out, and I forgot to, because it just goes off. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not, but we got an automatic air freshener, and it goes off like every 40 minutes or something. But damn, that totally just shredded this podcast, but that's okay. Just being that young and like thinking about that stuff is just like so sad. Like I can only imagine a 3rd grader now just thinking like that. But there has to be, like, why do we reproduce, spread out, like grow our species, create offspring, and then die? And like, I just thought that was it, just growing the species. But why? Like, what was the point in the first place? To create life, to spread, create offspring, and to grow and multiply and then die, and then the multiplications multiply, and it's just like compounding offspring. Why is that? Why is there... What's the purpose behind that? Like, why was that started? If there was nothing beforehand, what's the point of even starting a cycle like that? I don't know. There's just a blank spot in the beginning that just doesn't belong, I don't think. I don't think it fits. Like, there's no point if it's just... we were just created to multiply like this. all life, again, I'm not talking just specific humans, like every life form has a form of reproducing and growing and multiplying. Even if it's asexual, they just split and there's two of them. Like, why? And that's why I, after years of pondering that, that's what led me to believe there's got to be something else. And I was never religious, and I didn't believe in any religion until, Katie really kind of led that, kind of spearheaded that front. And I'm still growing and learning in that aspect, but I did start thinking spiritually. Like, I liked using the word the universe kind of thing, like for creation and like why things happened or how things aligned. Like, I think it's episode 3 where I talk about vibrations and string theory and like how you can use set frequencies to change your life with vibrations, with frequency. And so I started to go down that path, but I still do heavily lean on that. And I like to take I like to think for myself. I don't like having people interpret things for me. So even like when I read the Bible, it's not like I read it and that's how it is kind of thing. Like I don't even know about that. Like I like to read it and interpret it myself, and not with my preconceived conditions, like not my own biases. Like I like to sit with it. When I read something that hits me, I sit with it and like digest it myself. So I know it's a pure thought. It's not skewed by other people's opinions. So how all of this ties into dreams and desires and hopes is because sorry, dogs are looking out the front window and I thought somebody was here. But how these desires, dreams, and hopes play in with this whole how things begun. And this is a heavy one, but I feel like that goes along with the whole beginning. I mean, I guess it comes all down to purpose. That those desires are placed in our heads. Like, think about when you were a kid. Like, you could do anything you want and you weren't worried about, you were living in the moment and you're playing and doing anything you wanted. Like, you could be a chef at one moment and then go be a truck driver the next moment as a child playing on the mat kind of thing. So it's like, I mean, like all day long you're changing your profession and doing literally what you want as a kid, and then you become an adult and this is what you got to do the rest of your life. And it's like you're fixed in on a trade. If you learn a trade or if you learned a skill, you're locking yourself down, and then you got to build a resume around that. And it's like, okay, so now I'm basically like serializing myself as this is what I do. These are the skills I know and have learned. This is it kind of thing. So you're locking yourself in. Like when you go to college and you spend all this money to learn a skill to go do something in a career, now you're fucked because you locked yourself in. I don't know. It's just there's don't be afraid to dream. Don't be afraid of take your hopes, take your dreams, take your desires and lean into it. Believe them. I think they're there for a deeper reason. I think you're here for a deeper reason. I think you just got to find that reason yourself. It's hard to do. You got to spend a lot of time. You got to lean into the fear because I know a lot of people are afraid of silence. And you can't be. I mean, you can be, but you got to be brave. If you're afraid of it, then it's going to be that much harder, but you can still do it. Even if it's just short periods just to ease yourself into it, and you'll get it over time. But don't be afraid of yourself. Know thyself. When those dreams and hopes float by, don't push them off immediately and think that'll never happen. I can't do that. Those are much more important than you think. Because when you have a thought like something that excites you, enlivens you up, and you get excited for, and then it's immediately followed by a bashing thought saying, I can't do that, or I'm not that kind of person, or I can't do, like, whatever. I'm not lucky enough to be there. I can't do that. Those are the thoughts. Those are the hopes and dreams you need to lean into. And if you give it enough time, if you sit with it long enough, you're smart enough. You'll come up with a way to achieve it. You ponder it long enough, and it's inevitable. It absolutely is, and I truly believe that. I got hopes and dreams I've been sitting with for years, and I am not giving up. Some of them I feel like are right there, right about to happen, and I still fully, firmly believe it, that every one of my goals, dreams, and hopes will come true. And I think it's the people that give up on them too soon are the ones that say, see, it doesn't work. See, it's not going to happen. And then they live that loop life. And then blame. We all do enough of that. I do it. That's another thing is you got to remember we're all humans. We all make mistakes every day. But it's the act of recognizing it and bringing yourself back that's important. And you work that muscle long enough and it'll be easier and easier over time. And next thing you know, your whole life will change. The whole trajectory will change. Just minute adjustments over time can completely change an outcome, completely change the trajectory of your life. Don't be afraid of your dreams. It's I don't know how I can stress that more, and I don't think I can stress it enough, but you got to believe in yourself. Really follow through with your dreams. You don't, like, if you're talking golf, you got to follow through, or anything, baseball, whatever. You got to follow through with your swing. Anybody that's played like any sort of sport like that knows you can't just swing and stop on the ball. You have to follow through. Even though, like, with golf specifically, I know that well. Like, the ball's only making contact with the club face for like a microsecond. So a lot of people are like, what difference does it make whether I slam the club into the dirt after the ball or just stop afterwards. You know, because it's only on the face for that microsecond, and after that microsecond, after the ball leaves the face, it doesn't matter because it's gone already. That's not true, because you're decelerating or not accelerating, which are both just as bad. The way to get that distance and that power is to be accelerating through it. You don't want to maintain a speed or reach a speed. It's not about reaching a speed. It's about accelerating through the ball as fast as you can. You want to be going faster when the ball leaves the face. So that's with life too. I mean, you got to push yourself and you got to believe. And at the very moment where you think it's not going to happen, that's when you got to believe and push the hardest, because you're probably making contact. And again, I'm nowhere near where I want to be, and I'm saying this, so keep that in mind when you listen to this, because I'm struggling right now and I still fully believe this. And keep listening to the podcast, and over time I'm sure you'll see how true this is. We can watch my growth together and we'll see. So I know a lot of you listeners really see yourself through my words, and I really think that is one of the coolest compliments that I've ever received, knowing that you guys are listening to these words and seeing yourself and applying it to your life. And another top compliment that I receive is that when they hear my words, or I'll post a specific episode and I'll get a comment that says this episode was exactly what I needed to hear. And I think that's so cool. And both of those compliments are just so cool to hear, and I really appreciate all of you guys. And if you really enjoy what I'm doing here, I know the bonus episodes aren't as popular, but I love having this a part of it. I love having a part of me, a part of this podcast. I love having it real. I love having who I am part of this, not just all my guests, but it's cool to have this depth, and you guys get to see and learn who I am, and I get to share what I believe and what I know with you guys, and help people. And I know I already have, and it's just such a cool feeling, and I really appreciate you guys listening. It's just so cool to do this. So if you enjoy what I'm doing here, and you guys like being a part of it, then please follow the podcast. It really helps. I love seeing those numbers climb, the followers, and we're growing every day here. So it's so cool to see. Thank you for all your support. Share it with your friends. If you guys like what I'm saying here, then please, especially if you enjoy the bonus episodes, then you're probably going to like the rest of the podcast. So please share it around and like it, review it, give it 5 stars if you guys like it. That would be, I'd really appreciate that. Thank you. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you guys stuck with me. This was kind of a heavier one, and I kind of went a little bit all over the place. We'll see how it turned out when I listen back through, but I think it turned out pretty good. I think this is a powerful one, and I like that. And it's cool to be able to do this, episodes like this. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for tuning in, and have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you Monday.